good you can do for every day. So that's what I try to do.
And that's what it's about. That's what it's about.
And we are going to start the live streaming now on YouTube. So as you get started, I'll just make you aware of that, Cynthia. Okay.
Great, great. Well, that is wonderful. Has anyone kept their New Year's resolutions thus far? Oh, hey, Lucas, that's cool. That's cool. That's important. It's real important. That's for sure. That's for sure. Well, I'm going to take this opportunity just to briefly introduce myself. My name is Cynthia Harper, Dr. Cynthia Harper. I'm excited about government contracts. As a certified federal contract professional, as well as a certified capture manager in the government space, I've spent the last 15 years in and out of the space. One of the things I'd like to say to you is stay in and don't get out. It's something that you must be consistent with if you want to see success. It's been my pleasure to work with large companies, work with international companies, such as companies. South Korea was one of my clients. We did an international project with them. It was an incredible experience. So I love what I do. I'm a professional speaker, a coach, and a trainer, and I love motivation. So I want you to be motivated to move your business to the next level, to know that you're in a place where success is, I'm not going to say a guarantee, but it's not if you'll win a contract, it's when you'll win. But in order for you to be the recipient of the when you'll win, you have to be steadfast with this work. It's something that you just don't jump in and out of. So let's get started here. How to create an award-winning capability statement. I'm just going to move this thumbnail over here and get all you beautiful people. There you go. So how do you create an award-winning capability statement? Well, you know, when you think about that, this is your digital footprint. It is your business profile. So of course, we want you to win in this area. We want you to understand that this is going to sell you in the government market. And so my question does anyone know what a capability statement is? Or did you understand what it was before you entered into this market? You could just leave a message if you want to answer this, if you know what a capability statement is. So a capability statement really is, it's your digital footprint, friends. It is something that represents you in the government space. It is definitely precise and catered to the agency's needs. It's your business competency. And so we're so excited that you're interested in casting your net, if you haven't already, and having one developed so that you can be represented in the government space. So it's this one-page business bio that makes you look good in front of contracting officers, other large companies, small companies, COTARs, whatever it takes to get into the government space. And professional, we use a resume. In the government space, we use a capability statement. This is exactly what it is. Okay. So let's talk about what it's not. You know, oftentimes when we do things in corporate or other arenas, we need really beautiful, fancy documentations with color and things of that nature. And absolutely, we do that with a capability statement. But one thing it's not a 3-ply or fancy brochure. It's not something that they don't have time to read through all of that. It is something that's bulleted, it's documented, it is absolutely a one-page with specific data that makes you look good when you're trying to win a contract. It doesn't have to be too fanciful. It needs to be direct. It does need to be attractive and aesthetically pleasing, but of course it is not these fancy documents that we have posted here, which these are very, very nice. Let's see, somebody have some questions there, Mark.
Well, actually, I suggested that it could.
Questions are. Let's see what we got here.
Yeah, I had suggested that they have a capability statement, they can actually drop it into the chat box. It's something that's probably pretty common when somebody goes to a live meeting and they're wanting to get the word out about their company. You know, it's always helpful to do that. So they can drop that in there. If you do have a question, you can pose that question. This is one reason why we have Dr. Harper with us today. So please ask those questions as we go along.
And again, what Mark was saying, it's a live document, and actually it's a living document because it changes as you are granted contracts and get with new agencies, because all of that documentation will be listed on your capability statement. Why do you need it? Because you need to show the federal government that you understand the language that they're speaking. You need to show them that you know the difference between a brochure and a capability statement. The government doesn't use brochures like that. They have too much to read already. And then it speaks procurement languages. It has things in there that they understand, which is so important. It's very important that you have a structured capability statement that would speak to the language that the agency, the said agency, is looking for. And people say, well, what do you mean the language? We have some really good platforms like usagov.spending, which is good to go look up there and see what are the languages that the other agencies or the agencies in the federal space are using to sell product. Why were they chosen? What did their company look like? You have to start somewhere. So you have to start with your capability statement with the proper documentation so that you will be represented when your capability statement hits the desk. You're the one that they're looking for, because there are lots of good capability statements. And a lot of people are looking for capabilities. So my question to you is, what is the benefit
Cynthia,
of a capability? Yes, sir.
I was just going to say, I really like that slide you have there, that the keyword cloud, because as you mentioned, language is so important. And I know you're going to get into the details here, but making sure that you have the right words, and that's always a really good way to, there's free software out there to allow you to do a keyword cloud. You can see what, about your company, things, maybe words you mentioned in an RFP that you've done, and
Absolutely.
it'll help you find those right words. But always important to make sure you're speaking the government tees, the words that they're looking to see. And you mentioned earlier that you've worked with a foreign countries such as South Korea. I haven't ever actually had that privilege, but I have worked I've worked in 34 different states.
Wow.
In the United States. Yeah, so I've in some 300 projects. So I might go back and pull those projects together and see those keywords that really stand out in the documents that I've prepared. And that's really always a great way to come back in and pull language into your capability statement.
Absolutely.
Great buzzwords.
And you can get that from the RFQ, the RFI, the RFP. All of those things are listed. The documentation and the words, it's like doing a Boolean search. When you put a resume in, there are certain keywords that a company's looking for. That's the same with the capability statement too. It's just written in another format. But that's exactly what it is. You're right, Mark. Using the procurement language to ink the deal. And one thing we want to do in this new season is ink the deal. So let's talk about the benefits of a capability statement. It certainly, it opens the door forward for you. It is something that without it, they probably don't take you seriously. And it creates access to building a relationship, whether you're trying to impress a contracting officer or an OSTABU, which is an Office of Small Business Group that you're trying to do business, to help you do business, or if you're at an industry day. It's the benefits of a capability statement spells, I am ready, I understand what you're looking for, and I'm speaking the language of the government. And I want you to understand that. And it also addresses the specific needs of the buyer. It literally entices the agency that you're looking for. It really entices the buyer, and it leads to more contracts. So the benefits of a good capability statement is relevant to your success in the market. Okay.
That is certainly true. And if somebody's mentioning here about integrating video and integrating other types of media into your capability statement, I think in the past we've had that flat document, which is the paper that you handed out at various trade shows and just one page. But now, I mean, one of the great things about everything going online is that you can make them interactive and you can have a link. I know that you have a great video on your own personal your business web page, and I've been through that, and it's such an excellent way to introduce your company. But those are just real simple links. So you're going to want to, as you're going to mention, focus in on the information. But linking, that's certainly a great way to do that.
Yes, it is. And you can also use that same video that you link to as a capability briefing, because sometimes once you've shown the capability statement, you could be invited in to do a briefing for a contracting officer. That video is the same video you would print out, PowerPoint, or whatever, because this isn't a PowerPoint, but your briefing could be, and that video could be what you're speaking from. So absolutely link all those things. They're relevant to the success of you winning a government contract. So we talked about what the benefits of it is. Let's talk about bad or no capability statement. You see the beautiful doors there, the red one, the green one, the blue one, the white one, they're closed because the door slams on you if you don't have a capability statement. It's very important, it's imperative that you understand what the government's looking for and how they're looking for it and your role in it. Excuse me. This new sensitive computer. Yeah, so I need you to make sure that you understand that if you don't have one, it's going to probably slam the doors on you. It proves that you don't understand the lingo of the federal space. And it also proves that you're kind of risky. Do they want to take a chance with you if you don't understand the language, if they have not read and understood from your executive summary who you really are, or the differentiator that's inside the capability statement? There are some key things that must be in there that would give them an inkling to say, oh, this is a good candidate for what we're working on. And I think we often think because we're small or they don't know me, or I haven't done it in the government space, that you're not credible. That's not true. If you've provided the service of any kind, and that's the same services you're providing in the government space, then it shows that you know how to perform the services at an excellent level. Mark, what would you say about a person who didn't have a capability statement?
Well, I think, I was thinking back to a couple of times when you and I have been judges on pitch contests together,
Yes.
and how in that first couple of seconds when somebody comes into that room, that really defines them. And it's the same thing with a capability statement. When my eyes glance that statement, not having one, she just out off the, when somebody else has one, just really kind of makes you stand out in a negative way, just as you say here. But even having one, that's going to capture the attention of the procurement officer. And oftentimes what I use ours when we go in and actually make a pitch, and I use it as a placemat. So whenever I first go up, I would pass that out to everyone so they can look down and reference this, because a lot of times they want to have something to do. Instead of them giving a big book that they're going to flip through or something, I might have them that one page, and it allows them to have details about me that they can remember without them being too distracting with the books that we oftentimes see out.
Yep. So, I mean, literally, you could be considered not a player in the industry if you did not have one. So there are different versions of capability statements, and sometimes they're more in depth than others, but for the most part, I like to advise my clients to keep it simple. People don't have time to read all the information, but being simple does not mean that it's not detailed. It does not mean that it's not created for specific requirements, and it doesn't have what they're looking for. It's not meeting the need of the agency. So there are RFI, which is a request for information, which is not a bid, but the requesting for information from you. They might just request you to send your case statement or information on a specific project, which is coming up. And then of course there's the RFP, which is a request for proposal, and you will attach your capability statement with that. And when you're attaching it with an RFP, make sure the specific things inside this living and breathing document is listed inside there. And talk about that, Mark, of the difference and how it works well to make sure that you specify for the certain agencies, if it's an RFI or RFP.
Sure. I mean, request for information is my favorite one, because then oftentimes you can go straight from your capability statement to a signed contract. You don't even go into a room and before you walk out, you're in a contract situation, because you've given them the information they really are seeking. And the last thing you want to do in this situation is make them search for something, or have words so small that they can't quickly pick up on something. You got to make it simple, keep it simple. You said that's our theme here at Gov Directions too, as it is in a lot of companies, because when you start making things complex, you really lose your audience.
I know it. We tend to think that having something fanciful or really deep really impresses people, but really people are looking for the simplicities to move forward. So, you can send the capability statement in different versions, but truly it's a door opener for you. Overview the version is high level. Make sure that the one pager, that it's a high level view, that it's broad in nature with multiple service areas, that it has all the NACE codes. For the general marketing purposes at events, you need a capability statement that will have what these specific agencies and the versions that they want. And then you find out what they're looking for. If you're meeting with a contracting officer, if you're meeting with a large company who is the majority and you serve as the minority or partnering, which is so important that you have a good capability statement. If I am big company USA and I need a small minority partner or small partner to work with me, the first thing I'm going to notice is, let's see what he has on the capability statement. What version is this? How is it specific to what we need for this upcoming bid? Trust me, small business USA like me, we're needed. They need to do business with us. Veterans, women owned, all types of different differentiators that make you stand out. They're looking for you. So having a really good capability statement that's targeted for that agency or that's general or the sources sought is important, because you never know whose eyes it's going to catch. And this next one, I want to talk about the codes. It's so important. I'm working with a couple of clients through GovDirections now, and we're making sure, are these all the codes that you need to be successful? Have you listed all the NACE codes? Let's go back, because sometimes we forget that we offer this. And a lot of times NACE codes can tend to be similar to each other. It's okay to list those if their skills are similar. You need to know the difference in the NACE codes, the PSC codes, the SIC codes, and the NIGP codes. They're all different. The CAGE code, the DUNS number, and then any certification that you might have. Are you in a hub zone community? Are you SDVSOB? Are you WBE? What is it? What certification do you have? What code do you need listed that would catch the right person's attention? And then if you have any contract vehicles, if you're on the GSA schedule, many people who come to the government market need to understand that getting on the GSA schedule or even becoming 8A, although it's a process, once you're there, it's a great place to be. Let's see, Mark, we got a question here. Tara says, my biggest struggle being in the equipment rental world is knowing who pulls the strings to get me the right person. I contract fleet procurement, supplier diversity, but I'm not sure that I'm reaching the right people. We are certified WBE in New York State, NYC, and New Jersey, Port Authority, and I need help capitalizing on that. Okay, Mark, talk to that right quick as we get ready to go to the next scale. She needs to know the specific person, which is so different within every organization, who's pulling it. But whose name normally, Tara, do you see on the bid?
One thing that I would advise on this particular question is that look at some past bids and then see who is the responsible party and in the decision-making capacity. And that might be beyond the initial RFP or the initial invitation to bid. It might be during the award process. And that's the person who is presenting the information to the board that's going to make that decision, to the county manager, to the city council, and then send your capability statement to them. That's the proactive marketing, is they're going to almost always come back out for bid, especially in equipment rental. That's going to be something that's going to be most likely annualized or every 3 years or something. So this is on a cycle. And so start contacting. Because one thing to remember, the procurement officer is always so important. I can't stress that enough, but it's their main job. It's not their main job to hire you. It's their main job to make sure you're following all the rules. And they're the gatekeeper. So it is difficult to get past them sometimes. But when you do get past them, that's always great. But if you're reaching out and more proactively into the other individuals, not during the bid cycle, because whenever a project's out for bid, you're going to be in a cone of silence. They're going to really stress that you should not be contacting anyone else. But reach out after the bid site, after the award has been made, and future You can do that through your sort of the performance review, performance management of the bids that you're actually pushing out there. So that's one way.
Mhm. Absolutely. I think I put this in the wrong place, but it's all good. Let's talk about the 6 C's of a capability statement. Really important. You understand the codes, the core competencies, the company data, the corporate expertise and differentiators, the client and customers, past performance, and the contact information. Now, those are the basic 6 C's. You're welcome, Tara. Glad that we can help you there. But those are the 6 C's of a capability statement. Understand that these things will set you apart. The codes, core competencies, the company data, corporate expertise, which is the differentiators, what makes you stand out, the clients and the customers, that's basically your past performance, and then the contact information. Okay. So let's talk about number 2, your core competencies. What are the things that you do? What is your core? What is the center? What is the center of your company? What is the core? Like many people do IT, but what do you do in IT? Are you network engineering? Are you backbone? Are you desktop support? What is the core that you offer? These services or products that you offer are really important. And generally, I like to bullet point them. And I'm going to tell you why. They need to read quick, okay? They can handle this. They can do this. They can do that. I like it when it's fragmented because people don't have time to read lots of long sentences. Select key offerings. Make sure that it fits and speaks to the need of the agency. Make sure that you understand your core, and your core must be strong. It's relative that your core is strong. And we all know what our core is. You know, me, I'm a communicator. So I coach. I do business consulting. That's the core. I do it in different areas, but the core of it is all the same. It's coaching, training, communication. Understand the core of your business. No one can sell it better than you. No one. Trust me on that. No one. You should know it. And your capability statement should actually pull it out. What's your company data? You know, oftentimes when we do executive summaries, which is the data regarding the company, please make sure that it's precise. They're not looking on a capability statement for you to list every single thing about the company from start to finish. That's not how that works. But they want to make sure, we want to make sure that they have very pertinent history on your company and, you know, when you were founded, key individuals and some of their skill sets. And what are those people doing? And if you're a debt-free organization, that always looks good. Or if you're shipping or warehouse facility, make sure that it notes, you know, the square feet and what you're offering, the receiving, et cetera, and things like that. If you're teaming with someone, if you are in a JV or a partner situation, make sure that those things are listed in the company data so that we will know they will know who you're talking about and who you're working with. Mark, you have anything to say about that?
Just how important it is that, you know, the last thing you want them to do is struggling to find out how to get in touch with you.
Absolutely. Let's talk about your corporate expertise and what sets you apart, a differentiator. What is it that sets you apart? You know, your personal mission and your vision, your professional strategy for growth. What is it that sets you apart? You know, some people have certain things that make them well. It could be that you are woman-owned or veteran-owned that sets you apart. It could be that you have bonding capabilities. It could be that your company has worked with XYZ company doing a $500 million project. You might not even served as the lead, but at least you understand how it worked. These are the things that sets you apart. You know, what is your expertise? What makes you different? What makes you different? And why would I want to hire you versus the next good looking capability statement? And then the client and its customers. Okay, guys, this is so important. Though the past performance might not be listed inside of the capabilities with a certain agency or in the government market, it needs to be listed in the past performance that you've done something similar, that you understand working with clients and customers. So for an example, your past performance could have been in corporate America. but now you want to offer the same service in the federal space. But if you don't have any experience, you've got some experience that can translate. Never think the things that we've taken for granted are not relevant, because that's how we're learned. We're groomed from the things that we have done, and all those things come back together for our good. Never take those things for granted. And make sure you list the customers and the most popular ones that the most regular ones that you've worked with. Make sure that they're listed and that you understand that they're going to check the references. So make sure that the name and the contact and things are available if they call you and it's not listed. It's really important that you show that you know how to manage a client's portfolio and why it's important. And then the last C is to contact us. We can't stress this enough. Folks, whatever you do, you need to have current phone numbers, the company logo. If you've moved and you've moved into a new office, please put the new address in there. Don't use post office box unless it's one of the new post office boxes that they're listing with all these different, with Federal Express, and they have them as street addresses now. Make sure that the phone number is correct, the fax number is correct, the website is correct. Make sure the website is updated. This is all a part of your digital format. And for goodness sakes, the email address cannot say hotlegs.com at such and such and such. We want it to be a professional capability statement that will draw customers to you and not run them away. One you can use at industry days, one you can use when you're meeting companies, one you can use to send off for presentations. We want to help you win with an award-winning capability statement. Do we have any questions? I hate to run, but do we have any questions? Mark's going to be here that we can answer for you before we leave out.
I would just comment, the thing to remember whenever you pull together a capability statement is that you're defining yourself, and you want to define yourself. You don't want somebody else to define who you are. And believe me, your competition is out there working already to define how much better they are than you. So having that capability statement ready to go is one of the most important parts of government contracting. And Dr. Harper can help you with that. I was going to switch over here to another screen. And I was going to show you where you can go in, and what she has developed with us is a form that you can complete, and she guides you through the process of getting the information you need and then consulting with you. So if you have any questions, you can give us a call. Our primary number is 800-492-8523, and you can set up an appointment here at govadvice.com or GovDirections. All this is available from your member home account, and Adele or myself will get you set up with an appointment with Dr. Harper. This is the phone number there. And Cynthia, you may want to type your email address in.
Sure.
Yeah. And in that way they can email you directly if they need to. But just can't share enough how much I think of her work and how she'll be able to help you with this. If you have any questions, we're here. Good. Thank you, Cynthia. And this is available on YouTube, so you can go back and watch it again. If you need to, just go to our YouTube channel. If you go to your member home account and just click there at member home, and then drop down to Gov School, and you can go to YouTube Live and see that recording. Have a great afternoon. Have fun at your next meeting. I know you're busy today, Cynthia, so good luck.
Thank you.